Lucas Oil Studios.
Driven by General Tire.
It's Speed Freaks. Motorsports radio redefined with Kenny Sargent.
We love to party.
Crash Gladys.
What are we doing for the bachelorette party?
And Statman.
I am serious.
Here's the Freaks.
Freak Nation, it is a radio show that's been going on almost 23 years that we bring a lot of stupid-looking video. Well, in particular, my damn face on YouTube, Facebook Live, and many other video outlets across the country. How are you doing, man? 2 hours of Speed Freaks tonight from Lucas Oil Studios. Cowboys lose. You'd think between the four of us, again, between the four of us. Crasher's got 16 teams that she likes in the National Football League. You would figure,
one. Stop it.
You would think that one of our teams would at least make it into the divisional playoffs when it comes to, or championships, just to say, in the National Football League. No, my Cowboys go down, so we shall move on.
They have not none of our teams. Okay, Richie, sorry. Richie's team won the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah.
Hey, wait. The Bengals are in the playoffs still. They're in the AFC Championship game.
You are claiming yourself. You, a lifelong Browns fan, are claiming the Bengals.
Can't cheer for pervs.
Got it.
Hashtag can't cheer for pervs, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
That's how we roll here in the Freak Nation. A big 2 hours coming up, Freaks. There is a lot of motorsports to hit in the next 2 hours. Special guest Tom Blomqvist, your pole sitter for the Daytona 24-hour, coming up next weekend at Daytona. Crispian Besley, I should say. His name is synonymous with a new book that's out. There are a lot of criminals in motorsports, and this book chronicles a lot of these criminals, including Indianapolis Motor Speedway, crap ton of Formula Ones, a stripper in NASCAR, and much, much more. He'll be joining us here in the second hour.
It's a fascinating book. Sorry to cut you off here real quick, but it's a fascinating book. It's out on Amazon this week. Driven to Crime by Crispian Besley. It is your jaw will drop by the second paragraph if it doesn't, the second chapter if it doesn't by the first chapter. It's shocking and it's amazing. Everything is true.
And he didn't even count the NASCAR drivers who have to back up to the pay window every week.
Oh, snap.
You talk about criminals.
Wow, man, geez, man.
Wow, out of the gate.
Man, your Bengals are in the playoffs, man. Come on.
Yeah, don't worry, be happy.
Hey, when guys go 30 years with 3 wins, that's criminal.
Well, that's why in maybe some of our discussion tonight, if you're 100 years old, you still might have a ride in NASCAR. And that's a fact. That's a story that's out there. It's not something from The Onion. If you're 100 years old, you may have a ride in NASCAR. 3 more drivers, or shall I say NASCAR-related folk, are in the NASCAR Hall of Fame. The Roar before the 24, qualifying for the 24 hours, went off this weekend. Supercross round 2 in San Diego. We'll give you the latest on that. And here in NASCAR, there was a rule book change or update where you've got to wear this certain apparel underneath your fire suit.
Mm-hmm. It's mandatory now.
Right.
So basically, this certain article of clothing was optional up until the year 2023.
Now, when I first saw that on Twitter earlier last week, I swore that was something from The Onion. Right?
Well, the journalist who put it out there was Jeff Gluck. Right. So when you saw his name and you knew he was not affiliated with The Onion, which is a satirical publication, come on. Jeff Gluck puts out legit stuff.
All right. Well, that's a hell of a tease, Freak Nation. We didn't even mention what the hell it is, but we spent 5 minutes talking about it, man. If you're gonna hang around for that,
hey,
peace be with you, Freak Nation. This is how you play it with us, man. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, as you see us on Facebook Live, YouTube, And, of course, on the Freak Radio Network, many affiliates across the country. Again, almost 23 years. It'll be June 25th of this year when we eclipse 23 years of Speed Freaks on Sunday night. Richard C. Suave, he's in here. He's about to make a whole lot of bank if the Cincinnati Bengals make it to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl.
Are you going to quit? Are you never going to be a Freak Nation member ever again if you just up and win your millions of dollars if the Bengals go on to win the Super Bowl?
If only I had that much money there, Crasher. I did not bet my entire bank account on the Bengals winning the Super Bowl this year, but I'll still make a little bit of money, little side money.
Okay.
Enough for coffee at Starbucks, huh?
Exactly.
Actually, Richie, you used to be a part of a wine club. You would get wine delivered. Do you still get that?
I do.
Look at that. Richard C. Suave,
Nice.
the gambling aficionado and the Vino insight, man.
And the sommelier of the Freak Nation.
Let's go to Richard C. Suave. We were in Indianapolis for all of about 18 hours, 16 hours. We got in late Friday night, and we were there for the memorial service for Greg Cazzo. We talked about him a few weeks ago. He passed away in the middle of December. And if you are affiliated with motorsports in any form or fashion, it doesn't take 6 degrees of Greg Cazzo for you to be connected to who Greg Cazzo was and what he meant to motorsports. He passed away again in mid-December. They had his memorial there at the Lucas Oil Estate. Crasher and I were there, and it was very, very special. You'll see the logo over my right shoulder.
Oh, well done.
Yeah.
Well done. The big red cowboy hat. That's how many motorsports fans know him as. Monster Jam, Supercross, Off-Road, IndyCar, NASCAR, you name it. He was on the mic. He was giving you free garb from Lucas Oil, General Tire, Mav TV. Dude was legend. And yeah, there it is. The big red cowboy hat logo with his name as the outline of that cowboy hat rim.
And I'm working on something. I got an idea on how we might be able to incorporate Greg Cazzo, but that's all I want to say, Crasher. That's all I want to say here.
News to me.
Just let it sit there for a little bit.
Okay.
Right? Just let it sit there for a while. All right.
I'm excited because I love this dude. He had more energy than I have contained in my pinky fingernail.
I don't know about
love
that,
it.
man. That's that energy you have. You've been powering half of Phoenix for the last 8 years, man, with that damn energy that you got. So let that sit there and resonate.
You're letting a lot sit.
No, you're not. That's just fine. Hey, real quick here. Supercross 2 went off in San Diego last night. Crasher, do you need to remind the Freak Nation again who won that damn race?
I will in pit news and notes later on in the show, but let's put it this way. It was basically identical to Anaheim 1 2 weeks ago. So yeah, Tomac and Lawrence again. The 250 podium was exactly the same. 1, 2, 3.
Yep. But my point is this. Something's happening in Supercross, Statman, that it's not a changing of the guard, but it's a rewriting of wins and history when it comes to Supercross. And no one outside of Supercross and Speed Freaks is talking about it. And it's in regards to Eli Tomac and how many race wins that he has. Eli Tomac, he's not only sniffing, but he's putting his right leg over his 450 to sit right next to Ricky Carmichael and Jeremy McGrath with race wins and championships. Statman, again, what's happening with Eli Tomac in Supercross is stunning when we thought last year was one of the more competitive years in Supercross.
And that he potentially would retire, but nope.
You have to wonder if it's becoming more competitive or if there's just no new talent that's coming up through the ranks that's crossing over from the 250s into the 450s. And why? Whether the people are getting hired or whether to buy their seats or what's happening.
Well, there are a couple of things that you could claim as controversial on when you can officially move up from the 250 ranks. And there's some things to be discussed there that we don't have time to discuss right now. But I would say, regardless of Eli Tomac doing as well as he's doing now, there is still a lot of parity in the series. I mean, if you're going to talk about Chase Sexton or Ken Roxon or Cooper Webb, there's still a ton of talent. yes, the first 2 races have gone to Eli Tomac, but he's great, but he's got a lot of competition too. It's just a different time. I mean, we could have said the same thing when Jeremy McGrath was running away with it. Yet then there were not as many guys as talented as Jeremy McGrath.
Well, you think there ought to be one guy that's running out there and everybody chasing him? Seems like Supercross does better when there's a star and a bunch of guys that are chasing the star.
You think?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So you think that it thrives more on one name out ahead?
1 or 2, yeah. Yeah, I think it was never bigger than when they had Carmichael and Chad Reed and James Stewart. Yeah,
but that's 3 guys.
Well, but they were the guys at front. And everybody was chasing them, and then when they left the top of the series, then it sort of leveled off after that. I think the biggest stars, that was when it was most popular, the sellouts, the laser shows, and all of that.
Yeah, those battles for me between Chad Reed and Bubba were just epic. When Carmichael was gone and James Stewart just giving all he could to grab that championship, that was stunning. Freak Nation, your poll center for the day 2020.
Speed Freaks, Motorsports Radio, redefined.
It's more than just a slogan. General Tire delivers for whatever you do. General Tire's Grabber X3 mud terrain tire offers aggressive styling and is engineered for durability with innovative performance features that are ready to carry you through extreme mud, dirt, and rock-covered terrain. For extreme traction that's ready for anything and rugged styling to match, look no further than the Grabber X3. General Tire delivers for whatever you do. Check out GeneralTire.com today. General Tire, aggressively styling the Speed Freaks since 2001.
From the labs at Lucas Oil Products, Lucas Oil Complete Engine Treatment is a multifunctional cleaner plus lubricant. For every fill-up of gas or diesel, add 1 16-ounce can of Lucas Oil Complete Engine Treatment. 1 bottle can treat a tank of up to 21 gallons. Its special additives allows a better fuel burn to help increase your miles per gallon. Expect longer engine life, longer oil life, cleaner exhaust, and less fuel consumption. Lucas Oil, it works.
It's edgy and downright offensive at times.
So he wins my What an Idiot for the month of July.
See the world of NASCAR through their eyes.
Hey, it's TJ, Brett, and Freddie.
Superstar guests and plenty of hot takes.
And we are door bumper clear.
NASCAR hits MAV TV with Door Bumper Clear. Only on MAV TV, Motorsports Network.
There's a price war in the insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call the Term Lifeline right now and see if you can save 40%. $500,000 plans and up, that's our specialty. Even great smokers rates. Protect your family today. Call the Term Lifeline right now for a free quote. 866-549-TERM, 866-549-TERM, 866-549-TERM.
The biggest racing series in America is coming to your town. It's time to mark your calendar. Get ready for the wildest festival of speed in the Midwest. The Enjoy Illinois 300, presented by Ticket Smarter. It doesn't get any bigger than this. Don't be on the outside looking in. Get your tickets now at www.raceway.com. Brought to you in part by the Office of Illinois Tourism and Illinois South Tourism.
For more than 30 years, Lucas Oil Products has been solving some of the most difficult mechanical problems in the automotive, marine, and industrial industries. From our original Core 4 products, heavy-duty oil stabilizer, power steering, stop leak, transmission fix, and fuel treatment, we have now developed over 400 custom products to help solve some of the world's toughest mechanical issues. Go to lucasoil.com to see what we have in store for you. Lucas Oil, it works.
You're listening to Speed Freaks, Motorsports Radio redefined.
And almost 23 years of doing Speed Freaks. Statman, Crash Gladys, Kenny Sargent, thank you guys for being a part of it. Lucas Oil Studios, also part of those 23 years. Thank you, Lucas Oil. Go to lucasoil.com to check out a line of products to keep your rides fat and happy. A driver that's fat and happy right now, sitting on the pole for the 2023 Daytona 24-hour, Tom Blomqvist, joining us here in the Freak Nation. And before we went live, we were talking a little bit about the damn weather. How important for you psychologically is the weather, whether it's the Daytona 24-hour or the 6-hour or the 12-hour? Are you a weatherman driver when you hop in the car?
You know what? It doesn't bother me too bit. I really don't mind. Obviously, I don't like it when it's wet because, when you're not in the car, it's kind of nasty, right? It's more work for the guys and stuff. But to be honest, mate, it does not bother me. But it's always nice when the sun's shining, the fans are out. It's better to be at a racetrack when the sun's out. I'm telling you that.
Well, hold on a second. Let me take it into a different direction, because with a 24-hour race, there's some sleep time. Most of the time, I would say you go back to your motorhomes when you need to catch a nap before your next stint. But I've seen drivers sleep in the pits. I mean, you had to have had a time where you're sleeping in bitter cold weather, but you got to get those couple of hours in, and you don't have time to go back to the motorhome. Is that true?
I don't know. Maybe I'm just like a prima donna or something, but I've been fortunate enough to not have to be freezing when I'm trying to sleep. Although there have been occasions when I've been in like the back of a truck. And then the problem in the back of a truck is either like way too hot or like way too cold. So that's a nightmare. Luckily nowadays we get like lovely motorhomes to go and relax in between stints. So yeah.
Talking about the great season for you guys, it's you and Colin Braun, and for the endurance races, Simon Pagenaud and Helio Castroneves joining you. It's a stellar lineup that you guys have. But another thing that's stellar, Tom, is you brought up this new era of car, and we're talking about some electrification coming in, and this is the future of racing. But with that, a lot of people were predicting this weekend, next weekend, as a lot of trial and error, some teething that's going to go on with these new cars. Yet you guys have been fairly dominant. What have you guys had above other teams that you haven't necessarily suffered the fate of some others so far?
I think, we've got to give credit to, Acura, HPD. I can't do that when it's all in reverse here. I'm getting that all wrong. But yeah, HPD, Acura, the car manufacturer, Orica back in France. Those guys have done such a fantastic job. With all the prep, from the moment the car hit the drawing board all the way to the final, production, that we have here as us teams, MSR can, has got the beauty to work with to do that, final fine tuning. So, the cars obviously, we've got a great car underneath us. The potential is there. It's been shown all week, and to get the pole is obviously, fantastic, and a little bit of bragging rights for a few days, ahead of the race, which is important for the team morale. So that's cool. But yeah, it's we still have 24 hours of racing, and no one, if you ask every single one of us in the GP class, all the manufacturers, all the drivers, no one knows what to expect, and no one's expecting a smooth race. We certainly aren't. We need to prepare for everything, and it's gonna be wild. I can tell you, it's gonna be wild. It's gonna be the first time that we've gonna attempt 24 hours of continuous running. So it's a learning curve for everyone. Put it that way.
Okay, and so you say you're
character building.
Yeah, character building indeed. You're preparing for everything, but what is everything? I mean, let's say, obviously you can never prepare for accidents, but even your driving style in these new cars and charging issues, is it just literally everything? Or is there something in particular that you might say, okay, if an off on in the bus stop happens, or take me through one of those meetings, I guess.
Well, basically we've got 3 times as many, basically little mini supercomputers in the car than we did last year with the car.
3 times.
It's like ridiculous, the amount of coding and software and, new software that's, these cars are basically computers, and if something is a little bit wrong on the coding, this thing isn't driving out the box. So, it's a lot of work for the engineers. I get the easy job really, to just kind of steal the limelight here and there every now and then. So it's the guys who are back at base and team who are putting in those hard yards, making sure that this thing is running as well as it possibly can at all times. And we have hiccups. If something's not right in the coding, car doesn't run. You have to plug the thing in, download the data, and upload a new file to it and hope that one works. It's literally like a computer sometimes. So and then you've got the mechanical, the new mechanical parts on the car that maybe we didn't see that problem before. Some new little issue might crop up. So
how is it all working out, Tom, with the team sharing information? I assume that people are supposed to work together by the manufacturer's decree, but Michael Shank Racing and Wayne Taylor Racing are going to be banging bumpers when the race starts, and they're not going to be working together anymore.
We've kind of got this healthy, unhealthy, competitive it's pretty, it's been exciting the last year because we always end up fighting. Last year we're driving for the same brand. We're trying to work together, and then we always end up competing. It's always us that are we're like this all the time last year, and this year we've kind of had to reset and work together for the better of the brand and even ourselves, right, to put ourselves in the best position. So it's been really, really nice since October, kind of getting putting the two teams together and working together to put ourselves in a position that's enabled me to be here today talking to you guys. So I got to thank also all the WTR guys who to be honest got this car before us and did a lot of the early development work. So I've got to thank them massively as well, because they did a fantastic job, and then we came into the fold, and we've obviously worked really well together to give us that little bragging rights ahead of the race. And it's been fun, but once we're out on track, we're obviously fierce competitors. So it's obviously a weird dynamic at times, for sure.
All right, so I'm going to measure the smile on your face when you hear this question. I'm sure there's one or two little odds and ends, and when you're talking about 200 miles an hour, it doesn't take a lot of odds and ends to separate yourself from the next guy. So is there something that maybe got lost in a drawer or somebody kept in a pocket to learn how this car works, and maybe the other guys haven't learned it yet?
I mean, there's so many.
I see you're losing there. That smile, too big, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna carry the smile, and I'm walking the paddock with a bit of swagger next week for sure. But I'm sure the grin will be wiped off my face at some point early into the race, because man, these things, anything can happen right now. We're still having so many little issues that obviously, we want one more year before this car really wants to run. So. And we just don't have that time. The guys are hardly sleeping at the moment. It's pretty crazy.
I'm going to ask you one other question here that's a little tangential to the Roar Before the 24 and the Rolex. They had the Monte Carlo this weekend. Your dad was a former world champion. Did you ever think about running and rallying, or did you? I know you're concentrating on getting the pole this weekend, but did your mind ever float to? I wonder what I would do in a race, in a rally like that.
It's a good question, because actually when I was really little, I wanted to do that. I had so much fun. I used to love playing in the mud. I think my dad bought me a quad bike. I was 3 years old, and I used to love, going sideways, in the mud. And, we had a little bit of, when I grew up in the UK, I had a little bit of land. And, I used to, luckily I was let loose in the paddocks in some old bangers. And I used to love just messing around, trying to skid these cars in the mud. And honestly, it was kind of random that I went into go-karts when I was about 7 or 8. It was just by chance, really. So actually my first love was that. And then once I started go-karts, it was kind of game over. But I did get the opportunity to go have a rally in 2019 in an R5, the second class under the top class, the WRC. And I may have had there was maybe some small regrets coming into my head after doing that, because that was honestly I haven't had so much fun. That was amazing. But I was doing it for fun, right? It wasn't like, so maybe that kind of skewed my my judgment of it. But yeah, maybe, I'm still young. Let's see.
Let's see. Anything you want to down the road.
Tom
Yes.
Blomqvist joining us here in the Freak Nation. Again, Michael Shake Racing sitting on the pole for the 2023 Daytona 24-hour. Maybe we'll have you back in here a little bit later this time next week, Tom.
I hope so.
Buddy, thank you for doing this.
Cheers, guys. Thanks so much. Love
You
to
bet.
meet you all.
Yes,
Tom
you too.
Blomqvist joining
Wish me
us
luck.
from
Wish
the
us
Freak
luck.
Nation. Oh, hell, good luck there, Skippy. All right? He's got
buddy.
good luck. He's benefiting from the
Yes.
Freak Nation. Freak Nation. Speaking of more freaks coming up from the Lucas Oil Studios.
Speed Freaks, Motorsports Radio, redefined.
Do you have an idea for a book, fiction, nonfiction, or a children's book? We can help you put it together and bring it to market at Dorrance Publishing. We have thousands of testimonials from people just like you that we've helped get their books sold in stores and online. We've even got a service called The Writer's Coach. It's perfect for people that have a book idea in their head and they just need someone to help them put it on paper. Dorrance Book Publishing has been helping people just like you who have a book idea, written or not, for over 100 years. Imagine being counted among the most famous authors in the world with your very own book. Call right now and let us help you turn a book idea into reality. It's easier than you think. You just need a little help. Call us now.
800-879-4098. 800-879-4098. 800-879-4098. That's 800-879-4098.
Back in the day, you guys did everything you could with what you had.
Yeah.
So we thought it would be more fun to take everything we have today and put everything you had over top of it.
How about that? Wow.
MAV TV presents Legacy of Speed. This is the story of the cars, the men who built them, and the men who raced them. This is their legacy of speed on MAV TV, Motorsports Network.
The biggest racing series in America is coming to your town. It's time to mark your calendar. Get ready for the wildest festival of speed in the Midwest. The Enjoy Illinois 300, presented by Ticket Smarter. It doesn't get any bigger than this. Don't be on the outside looking in. Get your tickets now at www.raceway.com. Brought to you in part by the Office of Illinois Tourism and Illinois South Tourism.
From the labs at Lucas Oil Products, Lucas Oil Complete Engine Treatment is a multifunctional cleaner plus lubricant. For every fill-up of gas or diesel, add one 16-ounce can of Lucas Oil Complete Engine Treatment. One bottle can treat a tank of up to 21 gallons. Its special additives allows a better fuel burn to help increase your miles per gallon. Expect longer engine life, longer oil life, cleaner exhaust, and less fuel consumption. Lucas Oil, it works.
Our team is on the Rubicon Trail today, running over 125 vehicles over one of the toughest trails in the world. With all the different modifications people can make for their Jeep 4x4, the only product that touches the ground is a tire. This is the team that you want testing your product.
I've been off-roading for 30 years now, and you definitely don't need anything bigger than 37-inch tires. Our founder, Mark Smith, drove from the tip of South America to the tip of North America on 31-inch tires.
The General Tire X Series meets our standards.
We have the ability for accelerated testing in all conditions: mud, rock, dirt.
We're out here this week highlighting the capability of the General Grabber X3 to see how this tire can perform in unbelievable conditions. It's incredible to watch General Tire deliver in this terrain.
General Tire delivers me to a fishing tournament, the outdoors, jeeping, whatever it is that you want to do. It's outdoor life is what it is.
You're listening to Speed Freaks, Motorsports Radio redefined.
Freak Nation, a reminder, do you have MAV TV at home? Do you have Hulu? Do you have Roku? Do you have Spectrum? I don't care what you got. You can get MAV TV. It's the ultimate in motorsports. I don't give a damn what you dig. It could be drag boats, the Pro Pulling League, NASCAR, Superbike, sprint cars. MAV TV is your go-to source for all things motorsports on TV and digital applications across the planet. Go to mavtv.com for more information. If you're watching us on watching us on Facebook and YouTube, you're seeing I'm switching my YouTube glasses right now.
I noticed that.
I had to do it.
No, I don't think I ever have really paid attention that you switch glasses in between different things that you say on the show.
Well, I don't. I just forgot because looking at you, you're 10 feet away from me. You're blurry with these glasses. Looking at Statman and his beautiful face, I can see him because he's 2 feet from me on screen. All right. And that's the purpose, because if I had these glasses on, again, this is fantastic for radio.
Awesome.
If I had these glasses, I got to do this because I got to look down because these are trifocals. What do they call them? Blended lenses? What do the hipsters call it?
Blended lenses. Progressive.
Enough on that.
Anyone in our younger demographic is like, what?
Yeah.
Don't get it.
Listen, Statman, what's happening at the Daytona 24 hour? And you've got a scat coming up in about 14 minutes that doesn't have anything to do with this topic.
I was going to say, I thought he talked about the Monte Carlo rally.
He does. Statman scat, the Monte Carlo rally insight coming up. But Statman, what's happening at the Daytona 24 hour with these hybrids in your big boy class reminds me of the time when we were talking about Toyota coming into NASCAR 17 years ago, 18 years, 19, whatever the hell it was. And so many people were poo-pooing it as if, again, it's got to be American, man. And then one dude called us on our radio show, and Lug or someone asked him about, well, what kind of lawnmower do you have? He says, I've got a Honda. I went, okay.
Well,
you happy bastard. There you go. Nothing wrong with flying the Honda colors when you've got a lawnmower. Nothing wrong with Toyota. Look what they've done with the championships. But Statman with his hot.
Wait a minute. The great part of that was when his wife started laughing and almost fell over laughing in the background.
And she should have.
Real quick.
But Statman, real quick here. What's happening in the Daytona 24 hour is going to be upsetting to some people that don't understand what hybrids and electrification of motorsports is going, and it's coming fast because these manufacturers know where it's going, and they got to be able to sell some cars come Monday morning.
That's absolutely right. And they've got to be able to sell cars, and they've got to be able to convince you that their technology is better than the technology you're going to find, say, in the Acura showroom or in the Porsche showroom if you're a BMW dealer. So all of this, they're not selling these Cadillacs and BMWs and these sleek motor racing machines in the showroom, but that technology is in the showroom, and they want you to buy it based on what's there. And you know, that the electrification and the hybridization of the cars is what's going to, states in the United States are demanding that they make these cars and sell them.
I think this year NASCAR is going to make an announcement. At least this was told to me last year, that they were going to make an announcement that there is a 4 to 6 race schedule coming up with the electric cars, right?
Yes, that is supposed to be this year. Now I thought it was already teased. Yeah, we're all shaking our heads. Yes.
Yeah.
So it was already announced, but the venues or something like that have not been announced. What is the deal there?
Well, regardless, it's coming.
Yeah, it is.
It is coming. It's coming, or it's here even in motorcycles for Supercross, the electrification of these dirt bikes. It's out there, and the technology is damn near close to these 2 and 4 cycles that you can't deny it, man.
It's the future of motors. So why would it not be the future of motor racing? And who was it? Was it Ford? Somebody has taken a 100% electrical vehicle and made it sound like a just burning normal combustion engine. I think it was Ford. There's a YouTube video on this. So for all the people listening and watching and saying, no, you're going to ruin motorsports, the sound and the smells are going to be gone. And that's why one of the foundations of why we appreciate the sport so much. No. There's also technology that's going to keep that very finite element that will keep you tuned in and entertained. Yes, the sound is not going to fully go away.
Yeah, and the bigger issue is that some of the young people that are in Richie's age group, they're not even buying cars. They don't care. Kenny, you and I and Crash, we couldn't wait till we got to be 16 so we could go out and drive a car. I know kids in my family that 19, 20, 21, they don't even worry about getting a driver's license. They don't worry about cars. Cars aren't important to them. And those are the people that they're going to have to sell tickets to or to a race or sell cars to when they get them to a showroom. So, they're going to have to change. And if they don't change, they're going to be in a hard place when it comes to totaling up the profits at the end of the year.
Richie, I want you to play off Statman's comment there. And again, you're the relatively newbie here. Granted, you've been following motorsports as being part of us for the last 8-9 years, but you being the residential millennial here of the group, talking to your friends and even cats that are younger than you, does it matter what's under the hood for cars and then elevate that to some motorsports, whether it's rally or drifting?
I think it just depends on like how you grow up. Like if you grew up in a family that was part of your upbringing, then absolutely. But as far as my friend group is concerned, and again, it's hard to extrapolate this out, but the 10 or so people I keep in my main circle of friends, like none of us really know that much about cars. My best friend is probably the closest thing, and she grew up around, she actually rode motorcycles back in the day, and her and her brother participated in motocross and the like. So if anything, I'd say even like her family is closest to that. Like I always go to her for my car needs. And that's about all it is. Like I have one person I'll go to for all my car needs, and that's it. Other than that, like it's one of those things that like we can't afford to buy cars a whole heck of a lot now anymore amongst the young folk. And that's the biggest problem is it's hard, man, to afford an actual car. So we're buying crap cars off the street because we actually can't afford to buy the brand new ones.
That is a major issue when the average cost of a car is almost $40,000. First thing I paid $40,000 for, I got 4 bedrooms instead of 4 wheels. So, you can't depend on that. Even a pickup truck is in the $80,000 range now. So, most people can't afford that, young or old.
It's got to be able to relate to the middle income people. And when you're having to fork over something that's going to cost you anywhere from $500 to $600, okay, $400 to $500 a month in monthly payments, an electric or a hybrid car, that they might go for the old Geo Metro 2023 version. And I think when you heard Tom Blomqvist talk about this in the last segment, gentleman that's sitting on the pole with 3 other drivers for the Daytona 24-hour, talk about they're figuring out the hybrid car that they're racing on the track at 24 hours as they go. They're figuring it out. Tell me I'm wrong, Statman, but they're figuring it out for what's the time here? Hell, we got a break here in about a minute. They're figuring these things out so they can sell it to the public 2 or 3 years down the line.
Yeah, some of the technology is going to get from the racetrack into your driveway. Not a lot of it, but some of it. And that's what they're trying to tell you when you get into the showroom on Monday or Tuesday. There it is.
Mm-hmm. Freak Nation, it is coming to that gentleman 17 years ago that was riding around on his Honda lawnmower, bitching and moaning about Toyota coming into NASCAR. Maybe it's the same dude. Bitching and moaning about electrification. I'm with you. I want to feel it. I want to smell it. I want to hear it too. But There's certain things that follow the path of the dinosaur, and it will be motorsports if you don't adapt to where we're going as a society. It's here, it's coming. Get ready for it, for a NASCAR Cup car to sound like...
No. Again, there's technology out there. The sound is going to be fine, but the electrification is coming, and you're going to just have to deal with it. That's the future of racing. It's here.
Your Statman Scat coming up. Did you miss your motorsports over the weekend? Crash Gladys pit news and notes as well. And next hour, a gentleman's got the 411 on all the criminals in motorsports. A fantastic book that's out now. More freaks next.
Speed Freaks, Motorsports Radio, redefined.
Do you have an idea for a book, fiction, nonfiction, or a children's book? We can help you put it together and bring it to market at Dorrance Publishing. We have thousands of testimonials from people just like you that we've helped get their books sold in stores and online. We've even got a service called The Writer's Coach. It's perfect for people that have a book idea in their head and they just need someone to help them put it on paper. Dorrance Book Publishing has been helping people just like you who have a book idea, written or not, for over 100 years. Imagine being counted among the most famous authors in the world with your very own book. Call right now and let us help you turn a book idea into reality. It's easier than you think. You just need a little help. Call us now.
800-879-4098. 800-879-4098. 800-879-4098. That's 800-879-4098.
Back in the day, you guys did everything you could with what you had.
Yeah.
So we thought it would be more fun to take everything we have today and put everything you had over top of it.
How about that? Wow.
MAV TV presents Legacy of Speed. This is the story of the cars, the men who built them, and the men who raced them. This is their legacy of speed on MAV TV, Motorsports Network.
The biggest racing series in America is coming to your town. It's time to mark your calendar. Get ready for the wildest festival of speed in the Midwest. The Enjoy Illinois 300, presented by Ticket Smarter. It doesn't get any bigger than this. Don't be on the outside looking in. Get your tickets now at www.raceway.com. Brought to you in part by the Office of Illinois Tourism and Illinois South Tourism.
From the labs at Lucas Oil Products, Lucas Oil Complete Engine Treatment is a multifunctional cleaner plus lubricant. For every fill-up of gas or diesel, add one 16-ounce can of Lucas Oil Complete Engine Treatment. One bottle can treat a tank of up to 21 gallons. Its special additives allows a better fuel burn to help increase your miles per gallon. Expect longer engine life, longer oil life, cleaner exhaust, and less fuel consumption. Lucas Oil, it works.
Our team is on the Rubicon Trail today, running over 125 vehicles over one of the toughest trails in the world. With all the different modifications people can make for their Jeep 4x4, the only product that touches the ground is a tire. This is the team that you want testing your product.
I've been off-roading for 30 years now, and you definitely don't need anything bigger than 37-inch tires. Our founder, Mark Smith, drove from the tip of South America to the tip of North America on 31-inch tires.
The General Tire X Series meets our standards.
We have the ability for accelerated testing in all conditions: mud, rock, dirt.
We're out here this week highlighting the capability of the General Grabber X3 to see how this tire can perform in unbelievable conditions. It's incredible to watch General Tire deliver in this terrain.
General Tire delivers me to a fishing tournament, the outdoors, jeeping, whatever it is that you want to do. It's outdoor life is what it is.
You're listening to Speed Freaks, Motorsports Radio redefined.
There was a time not long ago when car makers promoted 2 World Rally Championship events in their showrooms to help sell cars. And always remember, car makers want to sell cars instead of just winning competition events. There was the East African Safari Rally in April and the Monte Carlo Rally in January. Both then and now both events celebrated the ruggedness of car maker technology, and the public bought the allure of exotic cars racing in the African plains and the French Alps. Now, though, the Monte Carlo can happen this weekend with little fanfare before or after the 4 days of stages. There was even some human interest this year. Winner Sebastian Ogier came away with his record 9th victory in his favorite event. Ogier, in fact, has won the World Rally Championship crown 8 times, but this year he'll be a part-time competitor as he looks for some sports car employment. Still, don't look for Monty posters in showrooms in the coming weeks. Car makers don't think we care about their rugged technology anymore. Certainly not if it doesn't come at the end of the long extension cord. Peace.
Your Statman Scat brought to you by good friends at General Tire. Do yourself a favor, Freak Nation. Go to GeneralTire.com. That's GeneralTire.com to find the righteous tire for your righteous ride. Coming up next hour, we had a chance to catch up with Crispian Besley, who's the author of a very interesting book that he tracks down the criminals in motorsports. There's no motorsports sport that is safe from the criminality of those that like to break the law. And as we find out, it sounds like Formula One is the leader in the clubhouse. Sounds like Formula One is the leader in the clubhouse when it comes to issues with breaking the law.
Because there's so much money involved, but there's a lot of money everywhere in motorsports, but Formula One, many millions above the rest.
Yeah, I wonder if he's got an insight to drifting. I wonder if there's any crackheads in rally. You know any crackheads in rally, Statman?
Crackheads? Who said anything about crackheads?
Selling crack.
God.
That doesn't even deserve an answer.
They sell Listen, there are teams and drivers that have been selling cocaine to fund their freaking teams.
Yes, and that is the John Paul Jr. story.
Yeah.
John Paul Sr. Jr. story is in there, so yes.
Yeah, John Paul Sr., when they busted him, that was the largest weed bust in American history.
That was only weed?
Well, it was only weed the first time.
And was it Randy Lanier? He's in the book too. And there's a Netflix. Was it Netflix? They did a documentary on him.
Scott Tucker, they did a Netflix piece on him. He ripped off poor people with 35% interest on their payday loan.
Stand in line for that. All right, Freak Nation, Crash Gladys Pit News and Notes brought to you by good friends at Lucas Oil. Go to lucasoil.com. That's lucasoil.com to find the right product to keep that engine under your hood. That's an engine under your hood, fat and happy. Crasher?
You just heard the Statman Scat talking about the Monte Carlo Rally. Sebastian Ogier, holy moly, making history. 9 wins now. What? Oh, yeah, and he's part-time this year. Okay. Let's go back to the Americana coasts. First off, the Pacific Ocean Supercross racing their second round in San Diego. Results-wise, just copy and paste Anaheim from week 1. Eli Tomac winning again in the 450s, Jet Lawrence in the 250s. Both guys extending not just their Supercross points lead, but their points in the Super Motocross title hunt at the end of the year as well. On the Atlantic Ocean, IMSA was back at it with their Roar Before the 24, which will run next weekend. But this weekend was all shakedown time for the new hybrid GTPs that will lead the field. Cadillac, BMW, Acura, Porsche. Acura was truly the class of the field all weekend long, though, whether it was Wayne Taylor Racing or the man you just heard from driving for Meyer Shank Racing. Meyer Shank winning the pole today in a shootout on the very last lap with Tom Blomqvist behind the wheel. Like I said, we just talked to Tom. In case you missed it, check out our website, speedfreaks.tv, or our YouTube channel, Official Speed Freaks, by Monday, and you can pick up the podcast. What do you call it, though? More than a podcast if it's video. Vlogcast? Podcast with video.
What are the millennials calling it nowadays?
Yeah, Richie, what do you call that? It's not just a podcast.
A stream.
Okay.
A show.
Archive stream.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I like that. The new VP Racing Sprint Series ran this weekend at Daytona. 2 races, 2 drivers, and 2 sweeps on the weekend. Dan Goldberg in LMP3 and Billy Griffin in the GSX class that represents all GT4 spec cars. NASCAR's Hall of Fame 2023 class was inducted Friday night. Herschel McGriff, Matt Kenseth, and Kirk Shelmerdine, the Lucky 3. McGriff, though, with the leak of the century, literally, mentioning in his speech that he has been given a ride by both Richard Childress Racing and Bill McAnally Racing when he turns the big 100 in 5 years. McGriff, giving a speech at the ripe age of 95, quipped, I hope they both remain healthy for that moment. So yeah, sticking with NASCAR, just in case you weren't one of the 30+ million watching the Cowboys 49ers game where this was announced, USC's Caleb Williams will wave the green flag at next weekend's Busch Light Clash at the Coliseum.
Now, is that because the Trojans play in the Coliseum?
It's gotta be. It's gotta be.
They've got freaking Wiz Khalifa.
Yeah, right.
And all they get is a freaking Trojans player.
Well, okay, let's get into this. Let's get into
Trophy winner as well.
So
that's not more than a Heisman.
Who's bigger though, Wiz Khalifa or Caleb Williams for NASCAR? Come on, it's Wiz Khalifa. Caleb Williams.
Oh my God!
Them's fighting words. All right,
This is a poll.
Yes, and this gets into the topic of conversation that we had kind of inadvertently started on our text thread earlier today. So, and I think we know where Statman's going with this because, okay, I'm just going to pull up the exact wording. So you mentioned, yes, that it was just announced on the Cowboys 49ers game. Caleb Williams will officially be the green flag waver for the official kickoff of NASCAR's 2023 season, the Clash next weekend. And then you went on to say in your text, things continue to change in race promotion. If NASCAR can do it, why not IMSA, IndyCar, or NHRA? So, care to expand on that stat?
No, it's a simple question. If NASCAR, of all people, can bring in people for young people and people of color, why can't the NHRA, IMSA, IndyCar, for crying out loud? They're all looking to expand their audiences. Why can't they figure that out?
All right, so I got a list. Thank you, IndyCar, for providing this. I got a list of several celebs that waved the green flag and or were the official starters of IndyCar races last year. We can just go with Detroit. Lions player Penei Sewell. With Mid-Ohio, OSU start right in your backyard there. Cade Stover. You had Mark Wahlberg, Sean Johnson in Iowa, Jay Cutler in Nashville, in Portland, the Blazers, Martell Webster. Come on, you got athletes and celebrities all around the IndyCar paddock as well. They're doing it. They're appealing to the Black demographic and some of the younger demographic as well.
Yeah, that I don't know. Some of those people, I never heard of them, but then I'm not the audience they're looking for. The point is, they're actively going after people that look different than the people that have been in the grandstands for years, and they want those people to come pay attention to what they're doing. Last year, the people that came in said, I didn't know this is what NASCAR racing was, and they're happy about it. And you got to remember, too, that there's not just people who buy tickets, but people who sit in front of the TV and will watch it because they heard or saw or thought they heard or liked, some of the peripheral people involved in the thing. What'd you say, Richie? They were vibing and dancing and having a good time.
Vibing and dancing, baby.
There you go.
At last year's Clash.
So, Statman, Caleb Williams, again, if all things are Twitter, Caleb Williams, 72,000 followers on Twitter. What do you think Wiz Khalifa has?
I don't know, 72 million. But are we going to boil everything down in the world to who's following on Twitter?
Well, yeah, you do.
I mean, Elon Musk. Elon Musk will, find out half those people, if they don't have blue check marks, they don't matter anyway.
Oh, man.
But I do want that marked. You just said Caleb Williams will be a bigger get for the Clash next weekend than Wiz Khalifa.
Well, we got to go. Why we do this?
Ricky, put it out there.
What's up at SpeedFreaks on Twitter?
Freak Nation coming up in the second hour. Looking forward to this. Crispian Besley joining us here in the Freak Nation. It's called Driven to Crime, True Stories of Wrongdoing in Motorsports, and there's a fat ton of it. More freaks coming up.
Speed Freaks, Motorsports Radio, redefined.
Whatever you do, General Tire delivers.
As a trucker, you've seen every kind of road condition out there. One of the toughest is icy, freezing weather, which can thicken diesel fuel and clog system filters. That's why you need Lucas Anti-Gel Cold Weather Diesel Treatment. It prevents fuel gelling at extremely cold temperatures, lowers the cold filter plugging point of diesel and biodiesel fuels, and removes moisture from the entire fuel system. In turn, you get maximum performance and reliability. For more info, visit lucasoil.com. Lucas Oil, keep that engine alive.
It's edgy and downright offensive at times.
So he wins my What an Idiot for the month of July.
See the world of NASCAR through their eyes.
Hey, it's TJ, Brett, and Freddie.
Superstar guests and plenty of hot takes.
And we are door bumper clear.
NASCAR hits MAB TV with door bumper clear. Only on MAB TV, Motorsports Network.
The biggest racing series in America is coming to your town. It's time to mark your calendar. Get ready for the wildest festival of speed in the Midwest. The Enjoy Illinois 300, presented by Ticket Smarter. It doesn't get any bigger than this. Don't be on the outside looking in. Get your tickets now at www.raceway.com. Brought to you in part by the Office of Illinois Tourism and Illinois South Tourism.
Packages start at $29.99 a month with signed agreement. Restrictions apply. Speak to a representative for complete offer details. See Vivint.com for license details. Terms and conditions apply.
Homeowners, if you're looking for the best in home security and smart home technology at a price you can actually afford, we have great news. Now you can get Vivint's award-winning home security systems starting at about $1 a day. U.S. News and World Report has recognized Vivint as the best professionally installed home security system of 2022. And right now, you can get Vivint's home security technology for about $1 a day. Plus, get free professional installation from a licensed technician. Protect your home and loved ones for as low as $1 a day. Call right now for your free home security consultation.
800-569-5802. 800-569-5802. 800-569-5802. That's 800-569-5802.
At Lucas Oil, we take pride in creating problem-solving products to make your car care easier. We protect your vehicle and make it run longer so you can focus on the things that matter most. Whether it's commuting to work, visiting a loved one, taking the kids where they need to go, going to the big game, or anywhere life takes you, Lucas Oil is committed to getting you there for all of life's important moments. Lucas Oil, it works.
David was in big trouble with the IRS.
At first, I didn't owe that much, but after this year, it was out of control.
Then David called Get a Tax Lawyer.
Right away, they were like, oh yeah, looks like you're qualified to say
Get a Tax Lawyer went to work.
Should have called way sooner.
Get a Tax Lawyer has helped thousands like David fight the IRS and get a fresh start.
Call 800-745-3070. That's 800-745-3070.
Hang up and try again.
Live on the Freak Radio Network, broadcasting Broadcasting from the Lucas Oil Studios. Driven by General Tire. It's Speed Freaks. Motorsports Radio redefined with Kenny Sargent.
We love to party.
Crash Gladys.
What are we doing for the bachelorette party?
And Statman.
I am serious.
Here's the Freaks.
Second hour of the Freaks, and the gentleman's name is, love this first name. I'd never heard of this name. Crispian, just as it sounds, as it's spelled. Crispian Besley joining us here in the Freak Nation. That's in about 15 minutes. Freak Nation. The book is called Driven to Crime, True Stories of Wrongdoing in Motorsports. And as you can imagine, all the cake that's being thrown around in Formula One, there's a crap ton of criminals in Formula One. And one in particular was a group that captured Juan Manuel Fangio, right?
Oh, right.
Cuban that
Mm-hmm.
had to do with Fidel Castro. Anyway, I don't want to give it away, but there's so many stories that we're going to try and get to in a couple of segments with Crispian coming up this hour. Second hour of the Freaks, Lucas Oil Studios, 23 years, almost 23 years of doing this. Thanks to our friends at Lucas Oil, General Tire, and everybody part of this big old thing. Statman, Crash Gladys, Richard C. Suave. It's a radio show that we decided to put our fat faces on YouTube and Facebook, Freak Nation. Many affiliates across the country. Again, Crispian Besley joining us here in the Freak Nation. Last hour, we had Tom Blomqvist, your pole sitter, running in the Daytona 24-hour in a car that, if you listen to that interview, in a car that he, Crasher, doesn't sound too secure, that they will not be dropping parts somewhere in the Daytona 24-hour because it's a hybrid.
Well, it's a hybrid, but it's also a brand new car altogether, in which he said they have 3 times the electronics of last year's car and other cars in the past. So a lot of things can go wrong, as we know, with our personal computers, our phones, our iPads, our tablets. There's a lot of computer chips now, more than ever involved. So little tiny things can bust up these rides, especially when you're talking about a duration of 24 hours, of which these cars, by the way, have not run a full nonstop 24 hours yet. Next weekend will be the first. That's just insane to me. That's insane. So, yeah.
Statman, that gives me all the more reason to tune in.
Yeah.
More so this weekend than the typical first hour and last 2 hours for me with the day 24-hour, is just to see where these cars are landing within that 24-hour on the racetrack there at Daytona.
Well, what's really going to be crazy, they always have rain in the middle of the night during this race. And think what happens if one of those computers gets wet. And instead of a $10 washer going bad, you'd have a 5-cent code going bad. And the whole thing goes from 200 miles an hour to just coast to a stop. And nobody knows why. Just like you don't know why your computer does one thing right 1,000 times, and the 1,001st time it says, I ain't going to do it no more. And you got to sit there and figure it out, because somebody put a comma instead of a period in some code somewhere, and you lose a race. Funny how that works.
Hold on a second. Well, somebody put up, it was Leo's comment, right? Somebody put up Leo's comment when we were talking about how kids don't get excited to get their license at 16 as much as they used to many decades ago. Kids aren't into getting cars earlier in their age. They don't tinker with cars like generations before them. But get this, with the hybridization of all cars, not just in motorsports, but motorsports leading the way, Leo said something around kids don't tinker anymore. They play video games. But with this hybridization brings about more coding and computer analysis into the foundation of these race cars. So we kind of need those video game kids to be the generators of these race cars moving forward, right?
Well, in fact, I just had this conversation with somebody, and the point is, instead of sitting there playing with a controller, you got to get out and be involved and do something. And that's, kids don't have imagination anymore because they're not asked to think about anything other than what they look at in front of their faces. So where we grew up and you took a broom handle and made a gun out of it, or a baseball bat, or a horse to ride, they have to say, they look at that and say, that's insane. I'm not going to do that. Where's the controller? Where's the monitor? Where's the computer? I can't do it anymore.
Get outside, son.
Get off my lawn.
Stop it.
Two things. Looking at the weather stat, man, according to our good friends at theweatherchannel.com, next Saturday, 63 degrees for your high, 52 for your low, partly cloudy.
Not bad.
Sunday, 73 for your high, 59 for your low. However, Monday, there is a pretty good chance, a 64% chance of rain.
That doesn't matter. The race is over.
Will that front come in a little bit earlier? Don't know, but that's the only time.
It always rains in the middle of the night, the Rolex. It always does. Have you won a Rolex that you've ever been involved with where it didn't rain in the middle of the night?
Was last year the fog race, or was that 2 years ago?
Every year was the fog race.
No, mega fog, like you can cut this stuff. Fog.
2 years ago, they had to red flag the thing because of standing water on the race.
Okay, so it was last year was the fog race. 2 years ago was the torrential downpour. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it is. It's incredible. I will pass out in the middle of it. I always do. But then I wake up and there's just something bizarre going on. It's like, whoa, what just happened in the last couple of hours?
Okay, the other point that I was going to make, Crasher, was I was recently talking to a surgeon and made an off-the-cuff comment about, and it's a surgeon that uses robotics for his surgery. Mm-hmm. And where many surgeries are used, robots are used for surgery, and made an off-the-cuff comment about, well, those doctors that played video games growing up probably have a better start when it comes to the robotics and surgery. And he didn't laugh. He said, they do.
No, that is what happened. I mean, I think now the older doctors that didn't grow up playing video games have caught up to the younger generation. But yes, maybe 10-ish years ago when robotics really became a thing, the doctors that had a childhood of video games were a little bit ahead of the game versus the older guys trying to play catch up. So yeah, there's not all bad in video games, y'all.
Richie, did I tell you that we are now a video game family?
Right.
No, you didn't. No, did you hop on the Nintendo 64 bandwagon? Is that what you got there?
Yep, sure did, Richie. I was going for the Atari, but bam, I went up to 64.
The Commodore 64. There you go.
Commodore was sold out. Our lovely daughter has friends that they've got the Switch, the Nintendo Switch, and I gave in. I didn't give in because I wanted it myself, frankly. And
Santa gave in.
And Mario Kart.
Ears are listening.
Mario Kart, the latest Super 8 X Deluxe, whatever the hell it is. We got that. We got Animal Crossing. We got Kart Racer. We got the Smash Brothers. It's a big deal here in the household. We are now a gaming, and we're not, it's not freaking 24/7. Oh my God, I got to wake up and do it. We wake up and have breakfast and we do it. No, it's fun. It is fun. You gotta be careful because you can get carried away, and before you know it, lunch, dinner's passed. Your
and
wife.
Kenny is still playing Mario Kart and still changing his settings.
Yeah.
The grip changes every game.
Yeah.
And wait till he finds out the cheat codes, and then nobody's safe.
Oh, look, Statman, again, I give you credit. You being on the forefront of drifting many, many years ago with Mario Kart, if you drift through certain corners, you get a faster car.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. You learn that, though, by looking it up.
Yeah. When you're drifting, the blue sparks underneath your rear wheels start to turn into orange and red, and means it's on fire.
Yeah, and that means the Acme Blue Spark Company paid to get their blue sparks put on the thing, and they make money out of that. You see? Hey, I know.
Richie, are you a Nintendo Switch player, my buddy?
I am not. No. Mm-mm.
God.
Nope.
You got to have a game, though, Richie. Don't you have a game that you play in the house?
I do. I have a PS4. I just actually bought it last year, so I'm not that big of a gamer. But I do like the racing games. I played F1 a little bit, F1 22. Played a few others, but yes, I like to dabble in the video games once in a while.
Right.
Mario Party, Mario Kart, top notch choices.
Mario Party.
What is a Mario Party, Richie?
It's like a board game, kind of, but you play it through the Nintendo Switch. Yeah, with all the Mario characters. It's great. Little mini games.
Man, see there, it's not only consuming my life, now it's consuming about 7 or 8 minutes of the top of the show, the second hour. Holy
Wait till
smokes.
it consumes $700 or $800 of your wallet. That's what.
That wait is over, Statman.
Yeah, that didn't take long.
Freak Nation coming up next. His name is Crispian Besley, and he joins us here in the Freak Nation to talk about crime and motorsports. The book is called Driven to Crime, True Stories of Wrongdoing in Motorsports. He is a dude that has his finger on the pulse of all things motorsports and the criminality that goes on behind it. NASCAR and strippers, we got it. Coming up.
Speed Freaks, Motorsports Radio, redefined.
It's more than just a slogan. General Tire delivers for whatever you do. General Tire's Grabber X3 mud terrain tire offers aggressive styling and is engineered for durability with innovative performance features that are ready to carry you through extreme mud, dirt, and rock-covered terrain. For extreme traction that's ready for anything and rugged styling to match, look no further than the Grabber X3. General Tire delivers for whatever you do. Check out GeneralTire.com today. General Tire, aggressively styling the Speed Freaks since 2001.
From the labs at Lucas Oil Products, Lucas Oil Complete Engine Treatment is a multifunctional cleaner plus lubricant. For every fill-up of gas or diesel, add one 16-ounce can of Lucas Oil Complete Engine Treatment. One bottle can treat a tank of up to 21 gallons. Its special additives allows a better fuel burn to help increase your miles per gallon. Expect longer engine life, longer oil life, cleaner exhaust, and less fuel consumption. Lucas Oil, it works.
It's edgy and downright offensive at times.
So he wins my What an Idiot for the month of July.
See the world of NASCAR through their eyes.
Hey, it's TJ, Brett, and Freddie.
Superstar guests and plenty of hot takes.
And we are door bumper clear.
NASCAR hits MAV TV with door bumper clear. Only on MAV TV, Motorsports Network.
There's a price war in the insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call the Term Lifeline right now and see if you can save 40%. $500,000 plans and up, that's our specialty. Even great smokers rates. Protect your family today. Call the Term Lifeline right now for a free quote. 866-549-TERM, 866-549-TERM, 866-549-TERM.
The biggest racing series in America is coming to your town. It's time to mark your calendar. Get ready for the wildest festival of speed in the Midwest. The Enjoy Illinois 300, presented by Ticket Smarter. It doesn't get any bigger than this. Don't be on the outside looking in. Get your tickets now at www.raceway.com. Brought to you in part by the Office of Illinois Tourism and Illinois South Tourism.
For more than 30 years, Lucas Oil Products has been solving some of the most difficult mechanical problems in the automotive, marine, and industrial industries. From our original Core 4 products, heavy-duty oil stabilizer, power steering, stop leak, transmission fix, and fuel treatment, we have now developed over 400 custom products to help solve some of the world's toughest mechanical issues. Go to lucasoil.com to see what we have in store for you. Lucas Oil, it works.
You're listening to Speed Freaks, Motorsports Radio redefined.
Lucas Oil Studios. We're coming up on our 23rd anniversary, Freak Nation, of doing this. That's not 23 months, 23 days. That's 23 years of doing Speed Freaks from the Lucas Oil Studios. And let me say, lucasoil.com, great website to check out. They have a plethora of products to keep your engine snappy, the inside of your car happy, and the outside of your car snappy and happy. How about that?
You're a poet. Yep. Great.
Go to lucasoil.com. Proud partners of the Freaks for those 22 plus years here in the Freak Nation. Coming up in moments, the author of Driven to Crime, True Stories of Wrongdoing in Motor Racing. And when I saw this title, I thought, damn, Stat, man, you didn't tell me you wrote a book, man. Your knowledge of all the crime in motorsports, I thought, why didn't you pen this damn thing?
Well, there used to be a saying that if somebody showed up out of nowhere with all the equipment one can handle, they were there illegally, either laundering or doing something illegal to get it in there. Maybe Crispian, maybe that's something that's common around the world since he's European-based.
Well, the author of that book joins us now, Crispian Besley, here in the Freak Nation, checking in from his bunker in England right now. So this looks like your office, Crispian. Is that right?
It is my office. You probably can't see. I'm not sure if the image is good enough, but there are a few thousand. In the shelves behind me, there are a few thousand model cars, which is the genesis of my interest in the sport, I suppose, from when I was a very young kid.
Well, first of all, thank you for joining us. And I've got a feeling this is going to last a little bit. So if we can hold you over for a couple of segments, that'd be great. But the title of the book is Driven to Crime, True Stories of Wrongdoing in Motor Racing. And an overwhelming theme for me here is Formula One. When you get that kind of blow or that kind of cake involved in motorsports, Formula One seems to take the cake. But I want to dive right into NASCAR. And, of course, it involves strippers. And we started this thing 22 years ago, and I don't even know this story, but I know the drivers that were involved with this former stripper that raked people across the coals and got millions of dollars, and they spend their ass in jail. Tell me about this stripper that owned this supposed NASCAR team back in, 2021, 22?
It was indeed. She was a lady called Anne Thomas, and she wasn't an American national. She came from the Middle East. She got involved. She was just very aspirational, to put it mildly. She had several failed marriages. She was trying to climb up the greasy social ladder, I suppose, social strata, and she ended up by getting into bed literally with somebody who had similar aspirations to own a NASCAR team. She found funding for it, but it was a very strange deal. They sold somebody a deal and said they'd give them 100% coverage on the car for a tiny amount of money, which they couldn't possibly have run a NASCAR team on, and it all went to pot. The guy who sponsored them ended up by losing all his money, and she got put away for fraud. It's not the best story in the book, but it's NASCAR, that's for sure.
Come on,
wait a minute. Well, I don't want to get too far away from this, but with all the stories you have in the book, Crispian, you can't throw the term out there that went to pot. That's not a
sorry. Good point. There wasn't drugs involved in that so much, but there are plenty of other stories. My publisher wanted to initially sort of segment the book with narcotics, one section on narcotics in both the States and in Europe, one segment on Ponzi, segment on murders, but that would, I think, become very boring. It's much more interesting looking at the individual characters, and it's across all disciplines of the sport. People lie and cheat and steal, and they kill for a variety of reasons. But when you have I speak as a competitor myself. I tried being professional back in the late 70s, and clearly I wasn't good enough. But the genesis of the book, it was really goes back that far, because I didn't have any family money. I had to raise the sponsorship myself. And I was reasonably successful at doing so, arguably more successful than I was on the track at the time. I did share the track with various guys who made it into Formula One. I could have made it probably, most drivers will tell you they could have made it higher than they actually did if they'd had the money. But what really interested me was where people got the money from. So you had people, garage owners who would work 24/7 to buy a new set of tires and get themselves on the grid. You had people like me who maybe were better at marketing because I'd been, had a reasonably good education. And then you had very clearly, and then you had the trust fund children as well. But very clearly, the people perhaps who are slightly older than I was at the time. I was a teenager. But it was very apparent that some people were funding their sport or their habit through nefarious means. And that was what, that is the genesis of the book, really. I've always been fascinated in the sport across all levels. I by definition, I'm a Brit. I live in the UK, so I know more about European racing and therefore Formula One than I do about NASCAR and IndyCar. But I love the sport across all disciplines. And over the years, I've just collected stories. I've always been fascinated, not just in the sport, but the commercial side. And as you rightly said, there's a lot of Formula One in it. And in part that is not solely, but in the 90s, there were an awful lot of very strange sponsors and very odd goings on. And it involved a lot of crime. So.
Again, Freak Nation, Crispian Besley joining us here in the Freak Nation. The book is called, which by the way is out at the end of January via Amazon and other websites where you buy your books, Driven to Crime, True Stories of Wrongdoing in Motor Racing. Something that we have found of doing 23 years of Speed Freaks, and we probably, again, knew this going into this show, was the return of investment when it comes to investing in a motorsports team, into a car, into an entity. The ROI just doesn't seem to be there. So it's not surprising to me that this, looking at your book, it just seems like it's one big money laundering after another, whether it was supplying money for a stripper or for cocaine over here or some guy's 70-story building. The money laundering just seems to be part and parcel, or, again, funneling illegal money into motorsports. It's been going on as long as there's been four wheels on the track.
Well, I think that's true, Kenny. Because there's so much, even at the basic level. I race historic cars now. As I got older, the cars have got older, of course. But at every level, it's an incredibly expensive sport, as we all know. And at the higher levels, it presents an ideal platform for money laundering. There's an awful lot of washing of money that's gone through the sport, as you say, from day one. And I suspect to a degree that still happens. I'm not going to cast any aspersions over people who are currently racing, but I'm pretty sure you'll find it's prevalent.
Well, desperation and some kids, I'm going to say, teenage boys and girls who want to be drivers so badly, if they become desperate, yes, it sometimes goes into areas that it shouldn't. So I guess I understand that to a point, but wow, to have so many chapters in this book and knowing there are so many other stories out there, that's got to just dumbfound you as well. You could do an edition too, like tomorrow.
Well, there are quite a few more stories, guys, you're right, which haven't gone into the book, partly because those people haven't yet been convicted. When they are convicted, then I didn't write this because I wanted to defame people. I've been very clear about that. Nor have I tried to glamorize any of the crimes involved. I've had a huge amount of assistance from people who are the subjects of chapters. So some of the criminals, and by no means all of them are mentioned, but an awful lot of people who have done wrong feel if they've served a prison sentence that they paid their dues. Everything I've written is in the public domain. So, and I should also say there are some, in some ways, driven to crime is a bit of a misnomer, because not all the subjects of those chapters are actually criminals. Some of them have been on the other side of criminality.
Freak Nation, his name is Crispian Besley, joining us here in the Freak Nation. The new book, it's fantastic, Driven to Crime, True Stories of Wrongdoing in Motor Racing. Can you stick around for another segment, Crispian?
Of course I can, yeah. Be pleasure to.
Crispian Besley, more coming up Speed Freaks Pits on the Lucas Oil Studios.
Speed Freaks, Motorsports Radio, redefined.
Do you have an idea for a book, fiction, nonfiction, or a children's book? We can help you put it together and bring it to market at Dorrance Publishing. We have thousands of testimonials from people just like you that we've helped get their books sold in stores and online. We've even got a service called The Writer's Coach. It's perfect for people that have a book idea in their head and they just need someone to help them put it on paper. Dorrance Book Publishing has been helping people just like you who have a book idea, written or not, for over 100 years. Imagine being counted among the most famous authors in the world with your very own book. Call right now and let us help you turn a book idea into reality. It's easier than you think. You just need a little help. Call us now.
800-879-4098. 800-879-4098. 800-879-4098. That's 800-879-4098.
Back in the day, you guys did everything you could with what you had.
Yeah.
So we thought it would be more fun to take everything we have today and put everything you had over top of it.
How about that? Wow.
MAV TV presents Legacy of Speed. This is the story of the cars, the men who built them, and the men who raced them. This is their legacy of speed on MAV TV, Motorsports Network.
The biggest racing series in America is coming to your town. It's time to mark your calendar. Get ready for the wildest festival of speed in the Midwest. The Enjoy Illinois 300, presented by Ticket Smarter. It doesn't get any bigger than this. Don't be on the outside looking in. Get your tickets now at www.raceway.com. Brought to you in part by the Office of Illinois Tourism and Illinois South Tourism.
From the labs at Lucas Oil Products, Lucas Oil Complete Engine Treatment is a multifunctional cleaner plus lubricant. For every fill-up of gas or diesel, add one 16-ounce can of Lucas Oil Complete Engine Treatment. One bottle can treat a tank of up to 21 gallons. Its special additives allows a better fuel burn to help increase your miles per gallon. Expect longer engine life, longer oil life, cleaner exhaust, and less fuel consumption. Lucas Oil, it works.
Our team is on the Rubicon Trail today, running over 125 vehicles over one of the toughest trails in the world. With all the different modifications people can make for their Jeep 4x4, the only product that touches the ground is a tire. This is the team that you want testing your product.
I've been off-roading for 30 years now, and you definitely don't need anything bigger than 37-inch tires. Our founder, Mark Smith, drove from the tip of South America to the tip of North America on 31-inch tires.
The General Tire X Series meets our standards.
We have the ability for accelerated testing in all conditions: mud, rock, dirt.
We're out here this week highlighting the capability of the General Grabber X3 to see how this tire can perform in unbelievable conditions. It's incredible to watch General Tire deliver in this terrain.
General Tire delivers me to a fishing tournament, the outdoors, jeeping, whatever it is that you want to do. It's outdoor life is what it is.
You're listening to Speed Freaks, Motorsports Radio redefined.
SpeedFreaks, of course, Lucas Oil Studios. Crispian Besley continues to hang out. Probably would like to be the hell off this interview. Crispian Besley joining us, Driven to Crime, True Stories of Wrongdoing in Motor Racing. The book comes out at the end of January. He joins us here in the Freak Nation. Let's just get this over with. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it. Have you found any dirt on former a-hole that ran in Formula One, Ralf Schumacher, the brother the uncle of Mick Schumacher? Have you found any dirt on old Ralphie?
I'm afraid I haven't, Kenny. No, I'm sorry to disappoint you. There's no dirt I know, other than the fact that he's probably one of the biggest supporters of his nephew Mick. Mick is not a bad driver, even though your US friends have let him go for this.
Hold on, just a second.
No. We're not all claiming friends there. Listen. No, you're all good.
Didn't Ralf Schumacher? And I can say this because it's not. Listen, the FCC doesn't give a damn if I say this. He owned at one time, I think, like a sex toy shop. If that doesn't scream money laundering, freaking Besley.
Stop.
He's laundering money, allegedly. I'm not accusing him of that. In fact, you can email me at statmc. I mean, sorry, I just got to.
I've learned something new because I was not aware of that. So,
hold on though.
I'm disappointed I wasn't aware of it.
Here's the deal, though, because yes, we had a run-in with Ralf Schumacher many moons ago, and so this show is we don't really like him. However, I really like hearing that he's a big supporter of Mick's career. So, I mean, Ralph...
Oh, it's going to go down in flames now, man.
No, it's not.
Ralph is freaking snake bit.
No, it's not. I like that because I want the best for Mick Schumacher. I think a lot of people really do. And like you alluded to earlier, he is a talented driver. He just needs to be given the right chance.
Okay, listen, enough on Ralph and the freaking Schumachers.
Can he answer that question about
because
Mick?
I want to get to Juan Manuel Fangio, who a lot of people regard as the greatest Formula One driver in the history of mankind, 5 F1 championships. And this dude was captured and held for ransom at one time?
Yeah, he was. It was in February, I think, 1958. There was a non-championship race held, I think, for 2 or 3 years consecutively. And it was all to do with Fidel Castro. It was a very strange event. It occurred away from the track when a small band of Cuban revolutionaries from the Fidel Castro movement kidnapped Fangio, and basically they were drawing attention to their cause. It wasn't so much about a ransom. These guys made friends. Once he understood he wasn't going to be harmed, he didn't know that to begin with. It was all very scary. He was kidnapped. He was at a reception promoting the race, and these bandits turned up with a lot of guns and moved him initially to one house and then to another house. And it's a great story. And the guy he missed the race. The race actually was stopped early because a driver crashed and killed some marshals and spectators, but which was very sad. But in the meantime, Fangio, watched the race with the bandits on television, and then was released soon after. But they succeeded in drawing attention to their cause, and that was what it was about. It wasn't so much about money and ransom.
Okay, now can he please answer Mick Schumacher? Come on, Mick Schumacher's a good dude, right? He's a good
I think Mick Schumacher is a very good dude. I mean, it's probably not subject for this program, but he's struggled. He has a very good record in the lower formulae. First of all, he's done his sort of apprenticeship. As you guys will know, testing these days in Formula One is very limited because of budgetary constraints. So the best way of learning how to race the Formula One, how to drive a Formula One car, is to race it. And he's had 2 years, of which the first was, the first two have been obviously with Gene Haas's team. But the first was in a not very competitive car. He was then up against last year in 2022 against a very talented, much more experienced driver in the form of Kevin Magnussen. And he's now been scooped up by Mercedes. And if in the unlikely event, but if Lewis or George Russell were taken sick or injured, then I think you'd find they'd put him straight into the car straight away. And I think he'd be very, very good.
Opportunity is what matters sometimes. I mean, you could just be in subpar equipment, all of a sudden, boom, you get the right deal, and then your career is magic. Yeah. Real quick, before we let you go, bring it back to the States. Elmer George, I'm an Indianapolis born and bred person, and this whole story, I don't think I knew that he had marital issues with Mary. I knew that he was a bit of I don't know what the term is I want to use. I mean, he was using sort of the family money to fund his own racing career.
Ralph Schumacher light?
No. But I don't think I realized the extent of how he actually died until your book. Wow.
Yeah. Well, it was very sad. He was, he married in, as you will know, he married into racing royalty, the Harmon family, and he was reasonably talented in IndyCar. He wasn't top draw. Once he retired, he got involved in the management of the Speedway, and I think that was a big fall from grace. He was as you alluded, he was a hothead, and not very popular within the family. I think Mary's father felt that he had married for money rather than for love. Mm-hmm. Mary certainly fell out of love with him, and whether he was it was a fiance or just a boyfriend, they were going to get divorced anyway. But I think he didn't accept it. He followed his aggressor to a house which is on the estate, which he was partly responsible for managing, told him to leave straight away. A fight ensued. Gunshots were exchanged and he died. And it was, probably an accident waiting to happen, but it was sad, but yeah.
And that was hours after the Indy 500.
It was, yeah. Well, I think he actually followed. He left the circuit during the 500, actually.
Incredible book, Driven to Crime: True Stories of Wrongdoing in Motor Racing. What is it about motor racing that attracts this kind of personality?
Money.
Just the desire for money and I think that's what attracts the crime, actually. But
what is about the sport? As we all know, whether you compete or whether you just spectate, it's full of very big egos and very, very competitive people, and that can bring out the best in some people, and it can bring out the worst in some people.
Could you do this exact book for worldwide soccer, football?
That's a really good question, and the answer is I couldn't, because my sport, my discipline is motor racing. But a lot of people have asked me that, and I there are an awful lot of sports, and I cover this in the introduction. But there are an awful lot of sports, equestrianism for sure, football, on your side of the pond. Basketball, huge money sports for sure. Boxing over here. Unfortunately, where there's sport, there's money. Sport, a lot of sport this day is about business, and the answer is yes. And I've talked to friends of mine who are commentators in other disciplines. There is corruption in every sport. Whether there's more in motor racing than there is in equestrianism, I don't know. But where there's gambling, there's crime. Where there's gambling, there's money. Where there's money, there's crime.
Hey, Crispian, thanks for doing this, buddy. This is fun. I hope we didn't give away too much of the book. These stories are incredible. I think you should be honored for the research that you had to do to grab all of these gnarly stories in motorsports.
Completely, yeah. And the familiarity with the story off the top of your head. Yeah. You've been talking here for more than a half hour. Just we're throwing stuff at you, and you're just giving it back to us. I respect that a lot.
Oh, thank you.
Crispian, thank you very much for doing this, man. And again, Freak Nation, is called Driven to Crime: True Stories. That's True Stories of Wrongdoing in Motor Racing, and it's Crispian Besley here in the Freak Nation.
Get it on Amazon. You are going to be wowed.
Thank you very much, everybody. Really good to meet you.
Thank you, buddy.
My pleasure.
And Freak Nation, coming up next, your Stat Man Scat, and we'll pontificate a little bit more on Crispian's book in regards to criminality in motorsports. It's an interesting read, Freak Nation. More coming up, Speed Freaks Pits and Lucas Oil Studios.
Speed Freaks, Motorsports Radio, redefined.
One of the main reasons for poor vehicle performance is a dirty fuel system. It can cause decreased fuel economy and actually do harm to your engine over time. By adding Lucas fuel treatment to your vehicle, it cleans and lubricates the entire fuel system. Pump, carburetors, fuel injectors, and valves as you drive. It also improves your vehicle's performance. It's a non-solvent product designed to protect both gasoline and diesel engines. Lucas Fuel Treatment. It works.
General Tire was born more than 100 years ago, right here in America. We've spent the last century tackling every kind of road this country has to offer, and especially the places without roads. So you know that with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
Back in the day, you guys did everything you could with what you had.
Yeah.
So we thought it would be more fun to take everything we have today and put everything you had over top of it.
How about that? Wow.
MAV TV presents Legacy of Speed. This is the story of the cars, the men who built them, and the men who raced them. This is their legacy of speed on MAV TV, Motorsports Network.
There's a price war in the insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call the Term Lifeline right now and see if you can save 40%. $500,000 plans and up, that's our specialty. Even great smokers rates. Protect your family today. Call the Term Lifeline right now for a free quote. 866-549-TERM, 866-549-TERM, 866-549-TERM.
The biggest racing series in America is coming to your town. It's time to mark your calendar. Get ready for the wildest festival of speed in the Midwest. The Enjoy Illinois 300, presented by Ticket Smarter. It doesn't get any bigger than this. Don't be on the outside looking in. Get your tickets now at www.raceway.com. Brought to you in part by the Office of Illinois Tourism and Illinois South Tourism.
David was in big trouble with the IRS.
At first, I didn't owe that much, but after this year, it was out of control.
Then David called Get a Tax Lawyer.
Right away, they were like, oh yeah, looks like you're qualified to save.
Get a Tax Lawyer went to work.
Should have called way sooner.
Get a Tax Lawyer has helped thousands like David fight the IRS and get a fresh start.
Call 800-745-3070. That's 800-745-3070.
Whatever you do, General Tire delivers.
Man, new car, new oil. What kind of oil should I put in this thing? I can't figure that out. I got to get something. I'm hearing the ATPA pits. Maybe I ought to go check somebody out, see what they suggest.
This freaking segment is brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. Lucas Oil. Keep that engine alive. You're listening to Speed Freaks, Motorsports Radio redefined.
was a time not long ago when car makers promoted 2 World Rally Championship events in their showrooms to help sell cars. And always remember, car makers want to sell cars instead of just winning competition events. There was the East African Safari Rally in April and the Monte Carlo Rally in January. Both then and now both events celebrated the ruggedness of car maker technology, and the public bought the allure of exotic cars racing in the African plains and the French Alps. Now, though, the Monte Carlo can happen this weekend with little fanfare before or after the 4 days of stages. There was even some human interest this year. Winner Sebastian Ogier came away with his record 9th victory in his favorite event. Ogier, in fact, has won the World Rally Championship crown 8 times, but this year he'll be a part-time competitor as he looks for some sports car employment. Still, don't look for Monte posters in showrooms in the coming weeks. Car makers don't think we care about their rugged technology anymore. Certainly not if it doesn't come at the end of the long extension cord. Peace.
Freak Nation, your Statman Scat brought to you by our good friends at General Tire. Do yourself a favor. Go to GeneralTire.com. That's GeneralTire.com to find the right tire for your righteous ride. General Tire has your winter rubber for your car. Don't believe me? Go to GeneralTire.com. If you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook Live, you see I'm wearing a big fat red hat. Well, there you go. And you see the logo over my shoulder, Greg Cazzo. Gentleman passed away in the middle of December. Good friend of ours, good supporter of the Freak Nation. Was quite envious of what we've been doing for the last 23 years, but I will say he was a freak of his own. We honored him.
And that hat was his signature.
Yep. The man, the
hence
big
why
red
you're
hat.
wearing it. Yes.
And you can see on this logo, that's the hat.
Yeah. The
Now,
big red cowboy hat.
I'm wearing it in his honor right about now because we honored him on Saturday afternoon there at the Lucas Oil Estate. It was a hell of an honor to be a part of it. And the way they paid tribute to Greg Cazzo, he was part of Lucas Oil. There wasn't an event, a large event, whether it was the Dallas Cowboys or the Indianapolis Colts or the Indianapolis 500 or a PPL event in Wheatland, Missouri, that Greg Cazzo and his big red hat weren't attending, making people happy.
Yes.
He was a strong proponent of promoting cures for leukemia. He was a very strong proponent of at least making the lives of terminally ill children better for a couple of hours. And he was also known on the side for being a hell of a giddy up and go when it comes to
That's one way of putting
starting a race.
Todas, say it with me! Drivers, start your engines!
I have so many of those from Greg. And again, if you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook, you're seeing a wall of jerseys that Greg wore over the years in promoting Lucas Oil and Lucas Oil events. There were 150 people there honoring Greg. And
it was live streamed on the
True.
Lucas Oil Facebook account as well, all over social media, which was very cool because there was a point in the ceremony where comments from social media were read, and oh my gosh, I didn't know when they were going to end.
Yeah.
And we know that was only scratching the surface. So way cool to everybody that honored Greg Cazzo. He was beyond deserving.
Statman, your scat was interesting. It probably doesn't punch a whole lot of tickets here in the United States, but World Rally does for millions and millions of people in foreign countries, Europe in particular, and countries around Europe. And again, my lack of knowledge, just hearing you talk about the plains of Africa, race cars running on the plains, what'd you say, Eastern Africa in your...
Yeah, the East African Safari. In fact, Datsun, the former Nissan, they made a lot of it with the Datsun 510, the car many years ago, and the 240Z. They raced them in the East Africa Safari, promoted that in the showrooms, posters, used the pictures in commercials, and sold a lot of cars and trucks that way because they were selling how rugged the car was to survive in such wild conditions.
And I'm glad you led into that, because I'm trying to put a big exclamation point on the hybrid that has now been introduced. Well, will be introduced the Daytona 24-hour, and how it's going to be fun watching that race for me, not just for the ability for 3 drivers to drive 24 hours with a few naps in between, but just and this isn't I don't know, this isn't one of the lower tiered classes.
Oh, no.
This is the lead class running hybrid.
Yeah, this is the car that's going for the overall win, and it's kind of wild the way they're doing this. The hybrid technology is a spec equipment that's on all the cars the same. That's why the manufacturers are urging the teams to work together so that nobody leaps out there, and they have fuel that's going into the car that's going to be sustainable. It's not just going to be pump gas out of fossil fuels. So yeah, there's a lot of things that are happening this year as racing tries to keep up with the changes that are being demanded by many people, including the governments where they want to sell the cars. Always keep in mind that an automaker wants to sell the car and not just show you how great it races.
So what are you predicting then for next weekend? The race starts Saturday, ends on Sunday, twice around the clock. What are you predicting? Are you thinking that there will be as many chip breakages, parts breakages that other people are predicting, or do you think it might go a little smoother than expected?
I think they're not going to push the cars as hard as they did the older technology that they knew so well. But there's going to be problems, and cars are going to break, and it's going to be computers that are going to go down when it rains. So yes,
I still think it's going to rain.
Yeah, it always does. Even when they say there's no chance of rain, and they had a red flag the race because there's 6 inches of water standing on the back stretch. All
right, quickly, we also talked about this last hour. It wasn't a dream, and we weren't making it up. It was confirmed with some leaked documents that NASCAR, again, this was last year, I think August, NASCAR planned to run a series of electric car races, electric powered vehicles like the Mustang Mach-E, starting this year. Looking at a story that I'm reading, a document that was believed could be the Mustang Mach-E, the 2024 Chevrolet Blazer SS, and the 2023 Toyota BZ4X bodies replaced the NASCAR Ford Mustang, the Camaro, and the Camry bodies.
Where? In a cup race?
In a cup race.
Really?
No. It's not going to be in a cup race. It's going to be a separate race just for electric cars. The electric cars aren't going to be racing against the normal internal combustion engine.
They wanted, where they wanted to bust this out was the Clash.
That's
what it was, wasn't
That's
it?
why that was top of mind for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then have it just be the electric vehicles in a surprise race. But yeah, things
And if you don't think these cars aren't dramatic, look up the Gymkhana, the Electricana video that Ken Block did with the Audi in Las Vegas. The cars are stupid fast, and they're very dramatic in the way they run, and they'll be dramatic the way they run against each other. And Tesla sells 1,000 horsepower car. I think it's called the Pilot or something like that. And in the out of the showroom floor. So yes, I mean, these cars are fast. Just because they don't have the noise or the smell or whatever, get over that.
Get over
Statman's on to something. We got a minute.
Are we going to talk underwear at all?
No, damn it. Sorry.
Okay, so NASCAR is requiring Nomex underwear. I just want to know, will the crew chiefs have to write their names in the back of the underwear so they don't get lost come the end of the race?
Boxers or briefs?
Boxers or briefs?
Great question. Boxers aren't going to do a lot of protection.
But no Mex boxers.
All right.
You can still wrap them tight on your leg.
Let's get the hell out of here, Freak Nation. We'll do it again next weekend, post Daytona 24. That man shoot the juice to the moose.
And cut it loose.
See ya!
From the labs at Lucas Oil Products.
Speed Freaks, Motorsports Radio, redefined.
Whatever you do, General Tire delivers.
As a trucker, you've seen every kind of road condition out there. One of the toughest is icy, freezing weather, which can thicken diesel fuel and plug system filters. That's why you need Lucas Anti-Gel Cold Weather Diesel Treatment. It prevents fuel gelling at extremely cold temperatures, lowers the cold filter plugging point of diesel and biodiesel fuels, and removes moisture from the entire fuel system. In turn, you get maximum performance and reliability. For more info, visit lucasoil.com. Lucas Oil, keep that engine alive.
It's edgy and downright offensive at times.
So he wins my What an Idiot for the month of July.
See the world of NASCAR through their eyes.
Hey, it's TJ, Brett,
and Freddie. Superstar guests and plenty of hot takes.
And we are door bumper clear.
NASCAR hits MAB TV with Door Bumper Clear. Only on MAB TV, Motorsports Network.
The biggest racing series in America is coming to your town. It's time to mark your calendar. Get ready for the wildest festival of speed in the Midwest. The Enjoy Illinois 300, presented by Ticket Smarter. It doesn't get any bigger than this. Don't be on the outside looking in. Get your tickets now at www.raceway.com. Brought to you in part by the Office of Illinois Tourism and Illinois South Tourism.
Packages start at $29.99 a month with sign agreement. Restrictions apply. Speak to a representative for complete offer details. See Vivint.com for license details. Terms and conditions apply.
Homeowners, if you're looking for the best in-home security and smart home technology at a price you can actually afford, we have great news. Now you can get Vivint's award-winning home security systems starting at about $1 a day. U.S. News and World Report has recognized Vivint as the best professionally installed home security system of 2022. And right now, you can get Vivint's home security technology for about $1 a day. Plus, get free professional installation from a licensed technician. Protect your home and loved ones for as low as $1 a day. Call right now for your free home security consultation.
800-569-5802. 800-569-5802. 800-569-5802. That's 800-569-5802.
At Lucas Oil, we take pride in creating problem-solving products to make your car care easier. We protect your vehicle and make it run longer so you can focus on the things that matter most. Whether it's commuting to work, visiting a loved one, taking the kids where they need to go, going to the big game, or anywhere life takes you, Lucas Oil is committed to getting you there for all of life's important moments. Lucas Oil, it works.
David was in big trouble with the IRS.
At first, I didn't owe that much, but after this year, it was out of control.
Then David called Get a Tax Lawyer.
Right away, they were like, oh yeah, looks like you're qualified to save.
Get a Tax Lawyer went to work.
Should have called way sooner.
Get a Tax Lawyer has helped thousands like David fight the IRS and get a fresh start.
Call 800-745-3070. That's 800-745-3070.